Hello, and welcome to Marvel Vision, a Marvel Studios TV show podcast brought to you by Cinema Sangha. My name is Devin Faraci. I am one of the hosts of the program. Joining me, as he traditionally does.
My name is Dirk Faraci, and man, fuck it. Hey, how are you?
I'm okay.
I'm very tired.
For the folks at home, last night we put up our enormous Watchmen episode for Batman v Superman. Our final word on this movie. In fact, I think Derek can't even talk about this right now. I think that he made a proclamation at the beginning of the episode, and I think that he can't even talk about the episode at this point. Like, I think he's not allowed to talk about anything related to this. But it's available to subscribers at the $5 and above level over at the Patreon, www.patreon.com/cinemasangha, SANGHA. So go get it. I think it's a pretty good episode. I think you're going to enjoy it. And also, you might as well get a subscription right now anyway, because we're going to have next month 2 episodes, one for James Gunn's Superman and one for Fantastic Four First Steps. So a lot of content coming on that feed. So get on it now while you can. How you doing today?
I'm tired and hot. How are you?
I'm tired and hot too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my AC's on right now. I'm going to have to go turn that off.
Well,
can you hear it?
I don't think so.
Okay, well then we'll leave it. It's actually just the fan that's on right now. Sorry to everybody at home if you can't hear it. I don't hear it in my. I don't really hear it in my headphones, but. It's warm here in the Los Angeles area. What's the temperature by you?
Right now it is 92 degrees.
Oh, it's much hotter there than it is here. Okay.
And it's 9 o'clock at night.
Yikes. So, yeah. What's the matter? Your AC's not going? I can see a little American flag flapping in the breeze here.
I have a fan above me going, but I turn off the AC for recording.
Yeah. All right. We talked so much the last couple of days. We've recorded so many. I had a number of friends be like, "What are you doing tonight?" And I'm like, "I'm recording a podcast." And they're like, "Again?"
Can you see?
No, it can't. Faces? It can't be seen. No, it's just a white blob. It's just a white blob.
Everybody have to show sad faces for like every hour.
Everybody's like, "How are you have another podcast to record?" And I was like, "I don't even know myself. All that we're doing is recording podcasts. That's my whole life right now."
Endless.
Well, now we're going to have a couple of days off at least at this point. Now we got BVS out of the way. And the thing is, when we record the Watchmen's about Superman and Fantastic Four, I think we're not going to mind that. I think we're going to have, it's going to be new movies that'll be fun to talk about.
Yes.
Even if we don't like them, right?
Yeah.
It was just sort of that death march of having to watch BVS again and then talk about it for 3 hours and change. That
was rough.
Yeah,
and what were the other movies we did? I mean, obviously Thunderbolts was there, but then we did the
Superman Returns, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, the Superman Returns. Just aside from Thunderbolts, a run of not good movies.
You couldn't hack it on your favorite podcast. How did this get made?
No, that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at least they're doing different types of movies.
We're always doing superheroes.
So, this is just, here's a bad superhero movie. Okay. It kind of gets exhausting a little bit,
Well, we haven't even gotten to Daredevil yet. We haven't even gotten to the Ben Affleck Daredevil yet. So let's see.
And then do we do the director's cut of that one?
I think you do. I think that's the kind thing to do. I think that's the way to run it.
Yeah.
All right. We have any news this week?
We do. Marvel has dated a movie Untitled for December 15th, 2028.
Good to know.
Which is leading to many theories and rumors that they might be splitting Secret Wars into 2 movies.
Oh my God, they're going to do 3. I don't know about that.
Who knows? I don't think so either. James Gunn did a big old interview with Entertainment Weekly where he revealed that there is a project they've been working on since day one that was not announced in his big announcement video from like 2 years ago because they are worried that other studios would rip it off. So they're trying to keep it as quiet as possible, and that they have other things in the works that have not been discussed that nobody knows about, and that Clayface is going to be rated R. And there you go.
I'm trying to think what could be people ripping off. Like what I can't even. I don't even know what it could be.
I mean, it's got to be something. I would think it's something not very big, right? Like that you don't like if you go to like Reddit or whatever, people are like, oh, it's got to be this storyline, like this classic story or that classic story. And it's like, well, first off, those are very character dependent, and second off, those are very well known.
Right.
So if his concern is that if they tell everybody what they're doing, another studio is going to take the idea, it can't be that well known, you know. So who
It's
knows?
gotta be. It's gotta be Major Bummer.
My theory, and I know this is not correct. Or I guess I should say my dream. My dream is that they're going to do a Human Defense Corps movie where the U.S. military invades hell.
Honestly, that actually fits the bill closer than other stuff because that is something that you could rip off.
Yeah,
that is rip offable.
Yeah, that's
So,
that's why I'm thinking that.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I don't know. Who knows what it is? You know.
Oh, I would kind of love. Yeah, Human Defense Corps was a great comic that did not get the due it deserves.
No, it did not.
And it is a clearly cinematic concept. The military invading hell is just truly a cinematic concept.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's an amazing idea. So I would love to see that as a movie, but who knows? He also said that a big time movie star came to them with a pitch for a movie, but they didn't like it, and they told him to go work on it more. So who knows what that is? And there you go.
Yeah, I mean that's good, right? That's nice.
Yeah.
They're holding their line. They're not just making any piece of shit.
No. So that's exciting.
Has anybody asked him like, what if Superman doesn't perform?
Yeah, he just kind of skirts around that a little bit. Like his answer to that is like look, the goal, all he cares about is if it makes its money back. He, just as a that's always his goal with every movie he makes. But if it doesn't do well, they still have plans to move forward. Blah 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 blah. How true any of? I mean, I know I was surprised that they announced the casting for Clayface this past week, which I don't have in my things here because I forgot about it until just this moment. Although I think we talked about it, didn't we?
No, it doesn't really matter.
All right. Well, they cast Clayface, a relatively unknown actor. I really thought that they were going to hold off on any announcements till after Superman came out and see how it did, and then like move forward from there. But I guess they're moving forward with Clayface either way.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a couple of things they just want to get in they want to get it in the pipe because just in case Superman doesn't work, they want to have this shit like so that Warner Brothers doesn't suddenly go, wait, what are we doing? Like they're going to have a couple of things, in the chamber ready to go. So
yeah. So who knows? He also clarified that, or seemed to clarify that Batman will not be in the Clayface movie. He was asked on Threads if Batman will appear before the Brave and the Bold movie. He said no. So there you go. And then he reignited theories that Pattinson will join the DCU as Batman because he was asked if they had cast Batman in this Entertainment Weekly interview, and he said no. Well, we cast there's Robert Pattinson, but he's doing Batman somewhere else. And then people are like, does that mean that they're just going to go with Robert Pattinson? Like, no, he knows that if he didn't say that, then the news is it canceled? Is Batman 2 canceled?
Right.
So he's trapped either way on that one. But what are you going to do? What are you do?
Nothing. You can't do nothing.
No. Moving on, what is this TV commercial for Pizza Hut? Little Caesars. A Little Caesars commercial has shown off Giganto in a commercial that has the Fantastic Four. I don't know if you saw this commercial.
I did see it. Yeah,
it's pretty wild.
So people are like, they're taking the Giganto clip out of context and presenting it just by itself, and people are having a negative reaction on a couple of levels. One, I think that the effects probably aren't ideal. they're probably still working on the effects for this movie. Like that's just, I'm sure it's still happening. But two, they've obviously gone with the comic book Giganto. So like this is not a realistic looking monster.
No.
And I think that modern audiences maybe have like a little bit of a thing about that. But obviously what's happening here, that if that scene's in the movie, it's going to be in a fucking montage. Like that's like so obvious that it's a montage. Like I can't even imagine people looking at that and thinking this is like a major sequence in the film. Like they're going to show you their first, when Fantastic Four first appeared, and then that's why they cast so many villains.
It may be something on the background on a TV set or something as well.
No, I think it's probably going to be a thing that we're watching. Because there is that bit where they're on a talk show that we see in the trailers, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're running like a clip in front. You know what I mean? Like, here's the story of the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
So,
I mean, the CGI doesn't look great, but it is a Pizza Hut commercial, I imagine. And like you said, they're probably still working on the effects or whatever. But the design is awesome.
No, I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's just Giganto,
I was so excited to see that. I was like, "Oh, this is fun."
It's just him,
yeah. It's hard to. I don't understand being upset by that
because everybody thinks this shit needs to be much more serious than it does. That's the thing.
Yeah,
everybody's lost their sense of whimsy. That's the problem. We need more whimsy in this world as this world moves towards World War III. We need more whimsy in our days.
That would be fun. Yeah, that'd be nice.
It would be nice.
Hopefully, Fantastic Four and Superman can do that for us.
God willing.
Yes. Pedro Pascal out there supporting both movies on Instagram. So putting up pictures of Superman with the Fantastic Four and saying it's a new era. It's like, does he know they're in different universes?
He does. I mean, I think Gunn has said that he thinks there's room enough for both. And
it's just they're being buddies. Yeah,
I am really curious about how bad the world is right now, whether or not having these two more positive superhero movies is going to will they pop because of that? Like, is this moment one where people need to go to the movies and see something a little bit more escapist and a little bit more oriented towards hope?
Maybe.
Maybe this is not the time for the dark.
I mean, that was one of the big beliefs with the success of Superman 78 was it was like the post-Watergate can't trust the government era, and now comes this movie where here's Superman being like, hey, people can be good, we can do good things.
It's the Star Wars thing too. I mean, and that was the thing. Star Wars came out and it was good guys, bad guys. All that murky stuff that came out of Watergate and Vietnam and stuff was out the window. It was good guys and bad guys, and people really responded to that. And same thing with Superman. He represented a really positive, corny version of America that was maybe out of date, but also was like people like, oh, I miss that. Like now we know America's horrible, and so I mean, it might be the case. I'm kind of curious.
That also affected Jaws because people were like, maybe a shark will come and eat us all, and then we can just be done with this. And then our final piece of news: John Barenthal, according to the Hollywood Reporter, John Barenthal will be in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. So we'll see Spider-Man interacting with the Punisher.
This got kind of a negative response on our Discord, I think. And I don't get it because Punisher was introduced in Spider-Man comics. Yes. And Punisher and Spider-Man are really great foils for each other, like really great foils. Like the thing about Punisher and Daredevil as foils is that they're both like serious tortured guys. So that's like less interesting, but because Spider-Man's more lighthearted and younger, that when he's like trying to stop the Punisher, he isn't doing it from a, no, Frank, you must be stopped. He's doing it from like, hey, look up here, punny. Like that's like a different vibe. He's definitely going to have to be, I mean, he'll probably ally with the Punisher, but I can't imagine it's going to be like a buddy-buddy thing. I just can't imagine it's going to be like, hey, this is my new pal, the Punisher. It's going to be like, if this is a gang war movie, as it really seems like now, it's going to definitely be a thing where Punisher's going after the same guys that Spider-Man is.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
And then Punisher will give long speeches about his dead son. And Spider-Man will be like, yeah, but you can't kill people. I don't know what to tell you. It's wrong to kill.
If you think the Punisher, like when he's on a diet and he wants to go get a big fucking burger, he says to the waitress, like, my son, he died, but I hear him right now. He's saying, do it, daddy. Do it. Eat the burger.
Get the double, daddy. Eat it for me. I can't.
I can't eat anymore. I can't try the new value menu at McDonald's. What an incredible tie-in that would be.
It would be amazing. I can't have the shake anymore, Daddy. Yeah, maybe.
That's it for news, huh?
That's all I got.
I'm excited Punisher's going to be in this movie.
Yeah, that makes me hopeful.
Yeah, I think that I like Baron Thor a lot, and I like Tom Holland a lot, and I'm really interested in seeing them on screen together. Like, that's one of those things that, like, I think I've been missing from the MCU is that feeling of like, oh, I want to see these guys together. Like, I want to see these guys bouncing off each other. Yeah. And so, like, that's why I want to see Ms. Marvel with Spider-Man. Like, I want to see that. Like, very much want to see that.
Yeah.
And that was the old first few phases of Marvel where you get really excited that like so and so was going to show up because it was fun to see them bounce off one another.
Yeah. Which is funny. I was thinking about that with Doomsday and this giant cast they have for Doomsday and all those names. And I was like, thinking about it, I was like, there's nobody where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see, this guy and this guy work together. Like there's no excitement in there for me in that list.
Yeah. I mean, there's like people who I like. The problem is that a bunch of them already met over the course of the previous things, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's like the Fantastic Four is going to be new. I'm going to be interested in seeing them bounce off of everybody. But yeah, I mean, like the thing is like, so Shang-Chi is pretty new and that's going to be interesting. Variety casually confirms that a sequel to the Fantastic Four First Steps is in development and may be a 2028 movie. So that could be that December picture.
Yeah.
So that could possibly be the thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, oh, by the way, I have many friends who have seen Ironheart by now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They liked it a lot.
Good.
They liked it a lot. So I think that's a really great sign that there was maybe, I mean, they're fucking dropping this like Andor, unfortunately. Yeah. I think that some of the responses that I've heard is that maybe it's a little bit slow at the beginning, but like it really picks up after a couple episodes and then like it's just like strong to the end. And so I think that's pretty fucking cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful. I just wish it wasn't, 3 episodes a week.
Yeah, don't love that. That I'm not so excited about. So
yeah.
But I guess we will see. Also, new rumor today: Daniel RPK says that Marvel is still in talks with Jeremy Renner to come back for a season 2 of Hawkeye. I did always feel like his quote about that was 100% negotiating the press.
Sure.
Like I've always felt that way. Like that was a thing that was weird that he said that because he's generally on good terms with Marvel, and I'm sure he would be happy to show up and do a thing with them. Just maybe not like a TV show.
Even in that interview, he's not. He makes it very clear. He's like, I'm not talking about like the guys that run Marvel. They're not the problem.
Right.
It's the money people.
Right.
And so yeah.
So I have a feeling that he was doing a little bit of negotiating the press. That's my take. So we might get a season 2 of Hawkeye just yet, which you would be so excited about.
I would be very excited. I would be very, very excited because I love season 1. Yeah, and I would very happily watch more of them because I think they're great. I think they're a great little team, and I'd like more. Although at this point, they're getting very old. We've discussed it before. This young Avengers team is going to be.
That's why they're calling them champions.
Are they calling them champions?
Yep, they're calling them champions, and that's why because they're not the young Avengers anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 7 years ago when they first started setting it up, they could have done it, but yeah, it's taken too long. So
yeah.
That's
they're all out of college and worrying about their 401ks.
They all have kids.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have letters this week?
We do. We're going to do a single letter this week.
Wow. Why?
From Rizzo, because he asked 4 questions.
Wow. We're going to reward this behavior, huh?
Well, no. I'm going to make it very clear right now. Guys, don't do this. But we're going to read all 4. We're going to do all of these because I'm going to forget to come back to it like once a week. So I just want to get these out of the way.
Okay.
But in the future, just one question, everybody. Just one question per email.
One question
can
per
send in
email.
800 emails. That's fine. But One question per email.
Where do the emails go?
to hell. They can go to hell. No. ask.cinema.sanga@gmail.com.
Okay.
Let's see, where's question. Some time ago, one of you guys made an offhand remark about Morrison's Animal Man run, which ultimately put me onto it. When work is slow, I tend to binge the comics on my computer. So since that remark, I've taken in pretty much everything Animal Man. Morrison's run became one of my favorite runs of the series in general, and I'd love to hear a little bit more in-depth conversation regarding that character. Also curious if you read Lemire's later run and any ideas on that one. I thought it had some gnarly horror elements and had been hoping for some more Parliament of Limbs action in the same level as that of the trees. So, Animal Man thoughts, Devin.
So I think that Morrison's Animal Man, like Animal Man was chosen specifically because this was a character they could fuck with. And the fact that DC keeps trying to bring him back, I think is sort of like weird. Because I think that where Morrison left it was just so deeply meta and everything that, like, I think to keep bringing him back, either it doesn't have the magic or the writers are trying to recapture that, but they're not Grant Morrison. So that's been my thing. I have read a little bit of Animal Man post Morrison, but my real Animal Man is Morrison. And, you know, again, he's like a character that was just a nothing character, like a truly nothing. He's a guy that got his superpowers because a spaceship blew up near him. Right? That's his deal.
He was taking a hike in the woods, right? And the spaceship
and
took
the
him
spaceship
away.
blew up.
I think they experimented on him, didn't they?
I don't think they did.
I don't remember.
Because this was Silver Age, so like this was before alien abductions. I don't think they would have done that. Alien abductions weren't happening back then.
I mean,
the first significant... well, no, they've never happened. So
yeah, well, whatever.
No, but they weren't happening. The first significant alien abduction was Barney and Betty Hill in the 60s, and that was when alien abductions then began happening to other people because it became... You're looking this up, aren't you?
I'm looking up Animal Man.
It became sort of a thing. But yeah, check it out. I feel like the ship blew up. Anyway, that was a... Good, you find it?
No. I'm...
But that was a character they let him have because they felt like he could just fuck with it, you know? And it's a masterpiece of a storyline. But good old buddy, I did not really follow him much. Every now and again, I'm tempted. There's always a new take on it. But I've never actually really followed up on any of them. So I don't have strong post-Morrison Animal Man feelings. How about you?
Yeah, I've never been able to get into anything post Morrison. It's never been as interesting to me.
It just feels done. Stance. Like when I finish the Morrison storyline, it just feels done. Like I don't know why you bring him back. Like I don't know why you keep... I mean, he can show up in other things for sure, but I don't know why you would keep giving him his own titles. Like sort of like the feeling that I have. So,
yeah.
Did you find your information here?
I did. So in the original origin, the ship blew up.
Here we go.
So you're right, and then in the post-crisis version, it crashed, and there you go.
Yeah. No, I've always been really fascinated by the idea. They were like, he was just taking a hike and a spaceship blew up near him. Like, it's just like, of all the dopey... Yeah, it's got nothing to do with animals either. Like, that's the thing that's like really great about it. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't even give it... Like, they gave it no thought. They're like, spaceship blows up.
What was his first appearance? Is titled Where'd It Go?
Oh, boy.
Because he didn't become Animal Man for 10 issues.
Mm-hmm.
Until 10 issues after he appeared. I don't know if he's in every issue. I was the man with animal powers. There you go.
All right. What's Rizzo's next question?
He was first called A-Man, and then he became Animal Man. Next question. I've become a big fan of listening to specific albums playlists when reading specific comics. Some examples being the Mandy soundtrack when reading Gideon Falls, a Hellbenders album. I think it's Hellbenders. All the E's are replaced with 6, so I believe it's Hellbenders. Album while digging into some BPRD and some acid rock for Silver Surfer Black, etc. Do you guys tend to read with some music going or generally just straight raw dog the comic? I'll usually have music on, but I don't have specific soundtracks.
I can't listen to music while I'm reading or writing. Can't do it.
Yeah.
The problem is that I have the way that my mind works, I can't be reading words and hearing words at the same time. My mind just tries to do both, and it can't. And so I keep getting caught in the music. Sometimes I'll put on like, movie scores or orchestral music or whatever. But like even that, I don't even really do that much. I usually just raw dog it. And I tried writing the other day with music on in the other room. I just couldn't fucking do it. I could not do it. So my brain, it's just too much verbal input. Like I can't have words coming into my head while I'm trying to put words out of my head at the same time. I can't do that. And if I'm trying to read a thing, I can't have the words jostling with the words that are on the page. So I just don't do it.
No,
I wish I could. Everybody else does. I just can't.
Yeah, I can do music. I know there are people that like listen to podcasts while they're writing. I can't imagine that. Like
That's
having
crazy.
a conversation happening, like seems insane to me. But I can do music, but that's it. Question for me, Derek. You've mentioned Tom King a few times as being a solid writer. A lot of people I see complaining online get upset about his maxi series, how his maxi series veer away from a course that readers may expect a specific character to take in terms of motivation or choices. I'm of the mind that that's the whole point of the series being outside of continuity, to do shit with them that you wouldn't normally get to do. I was curious if any of his comics just didn't work for you for that or any other reason. On the flip side, which are some of your favorites of him by him and why? The only one of his books I've read that I really do not like is Heroes in Crisis, which is in continuity. DC editorial chose. Now I can hear your air conditioner.
Let me go turn it off. Hold on.
Yeah,
You talk. I'm going to turn this off.
DC editorial chose which characters to use and just said, okay, you got to use these people. And it just did not work. It did not work well. It was an interesting concept, but the characters being used did not fit. And since it's in continuity, it feels off. And it was poor choices made by many people, which I think Tom King agrees with. Mm-hmm. My favorites of his, obviously, I mean, Miracle Man or Mr. Miracle is fantastic. Vision is amazing. Danger Street. I don't see a lot of people talking about Danger Street. I loved it. I thought Danger Street was great. His run on Batman, I really, really liked. And so much of the vocal audience did not like it, to the point that they kicked him off the book, even though it was selling well. And then made him finish everything as like a Elseworlds kind of thing. But I really like that stuff. I have not read the Jenny Sparks one or the Human Target one. I got to get on those. I started Gotham Year One like a year ago on a plane, and I read the first 3 issues, but I never finished it. I got to get back on that. But overall, I One Bad Day, the One Bad Day that him and Tom King did for Batman. That's all about Riddler. I really like that story. Yeah, I think he's a very, very talented writer. I think he's very good at what he does. Supergirl, obviously, and also his Superman Up and Away they did with I think it's Adam Kubert who did the art on that one, is one of the best Superman stories in ages. So there you go. That's my stance on that.
I have not read a ton of Tom King. I will say that I read his Omega Men.
Yeah.
I did not like it. And it's like really, it's beloved. And I did not.
Yeah, I couldn't get into Omega Men. That's like one of his first things, if not like, yeah. I mean, his first thing I think was the Vertigo series he did with Mitch Gerard, but Omega Men was very, very early on, and I only read like 2 or 3 issues of it, and I've never gone back to try it again.
Yeah, but, I mean, I read a bunch. I think I read the whole thing, and my problem was just the storytelling wasn't clear. I didn't think it was good storytelling. Like, I think the concepts were really good. Like, I think there's like really interesting stuff happening and the really interesting ideas happening, but I found the storytelling to be, and I don't know if it was just the storytelling or if it was how the art and the writing clashed maybe or something, but I had a real problem with that. I was like, from panel to panel, I was like having to really do a little bit too much work. Which makes me sound stupid, but yeah.
No, I get it. I definitely get it. I've never read his Nightwing run, which is supposed to be very good, but I've never read it because I think Nightwing is not a very interesting character.
He's actually not like Batman. Did you know that? He's going to prove it.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
He's going to prove.
Yeah. Well, that's his and Tom King's entire run. The series was called Grayson, and he was working as a spy, which is definitely it's more interesting at least. But I just don't find Dick Grayson a very interesting character.
I imagine Tom King's comics, a lot of this stuff is like him trying to deal with the fact that he was a CIA guy.
You can definitely see a lot of that in his books. Yeah,
like having to deal with like the people he killed.
Yeah, I mean, his Strange Adventures is all about war crimes. So it's hard not to see that. Mr. Miracle is all about a never-ending war and being sucked into it. Like, it's in his work. He is definitely a write what you know kind of guy.
Yeah.
But then, like, Danger Street is just real weird, kooky stuff. And then the fourth question, Derek, are you aware that you sound like RDJ? I did not personally think this until a few months ago when I was playing the podcast on my phone speakers while cleaning the house. A roommate of mine asked if I was listening to an RDJ podcast. Thought nothing of it, but not even a week later, I was in a similar situation where a friend stopped by and asked if I was listening to an RDJ on a podcast. 2 times as funny, but third time when another friend overheard the podcast and asked if there was some new RDJ podcast is when I have to take note. And truth be told, I have started to pick up on the RDJ comparisons. Has this ever occurred to you? No, but we both do stumble over our words consistently, and that's why he's had a lot of trouble as an actor over the years. So,
I mean, I think the big difference here is that he's funny.
Wow, really? Wow. All right, good night, everybody. That's the end of this episode.
I mean, you're not going for comedy, right? You're not going for humor, right?
No, I'm deadly serious. Yeah.
I have never imagined that. I've never considered that. Never, not once in my life.
No.
Huh. Interesting. Anybody else get this RDJ? I would love to know, or maybe just Rizzo's friends all have RDJ on their brain. RDJ, we're assuming here is Robert Downey Jr., right? That's what we're assuming here.
That's what I'm assuming. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Unless he's talking about somebody we don't know. He's like, no, my friend Robert Domingo Juarez. Like,
okay. Yeah. So I'm assuming it's Robert Downey Jr. So
yeah.
Interesting. Anybody else think that Derek sounds like Robert Downey Jr.? Weigh in. We want to hear your thoughts. So could Derek get a job doing an Iron Man voice in a Marvel cartoon?
No. It would cost more than making Endgame for me to have to keep flubbing my lines and re-recording them.
All right. Are you ready to talk about our final episode of Justice League Unlimited?
Yes.
All right. Let us do it. Justice League Unlimited Season 2, Episode 13, Epilogue. You had mentioned, I think, last week that you had problems with this episode.
Yes.
I just straight up didn't like this episode. Straight up did not like it. Like, very much did not like it. Getting that out of the way, because I'm probably going to be pretty mean to it. Just fundamentally was like, what, why, how, like, why is it structured like this? Why, like all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to get that out of the way. We opened 35 years after 65, sorry, after the events of the last episode of Justice League that we watched. And Terry McGinnis, who is the Batman Beyond, is
Terry McGinnis, who is John Romita Sr.'s Peter Parker. Like, well, it really looks like him.
He does. He is breaking into a house that's highly guarded, and it turns out that it's Amanda Waller's house. And he breaks in, he finds Amanda Waller, he wants answers, and then begins, I would say, one of the more irritating sequences that I have seen on a television screen in a minute. There's a scene where she wants to give him tea, and he's like, I don't want tea. And she goes, well, here, I have some of this tea. And he knocks the glass out of her hand. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And then he just does one line of his monologue about being Batman, and she does one line of her monologue about the teacup, and it just keeps going back and forth. Yeah. And I'm like, I understand this probably feels like a literary thing, but like watching these two characters speak at nobody
I understand your problem with that. My problem was more that she said that it was green tea, and when it falls onto the ground, it's clearly red tea.
Well, she was going to kill him. She's Amanda Waller. I mean, come on, it's obviously poison. I mean, like, there's not a chance. Yeah, I just was like, oh, this is an awful way to do this scene. And the other thing is that watching this sequence, this opening, does Terry McGinnis know her already? This is his first time meeting her?
I don't remember her showing up in Batman Beyond.
But there's also been a time jump, though, right? From Batman.
There has been a time, yeah, because in Batman Beyond, he's a teenager.
Right.
So
and now he's 30. He's in his 30s now.
He's in his 30s. Well, it's been 15 years since high school. So, yeah, he's probably in his 30s, or he's definitely in his 30s. It leads to a never-ending question of how old is Amanda Waller and how old is Bruce Wayne? Because if this is 65 years since the events of the last episode,
they're like probably 100 at least.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, the thing is that we're talking about Bruce Wayne getting cloned body parts to keep him alive, and it's the future, and this is one of those futures where I'm sure they have all kinds of stuff.
It's just something that popped in my head, like, man, they're really hanging on.
But he's just so unpleasant in this scene, and I'm like, just ask your questions, man. Like, just like he keeps going, I need these answers. I need these answers. Like, well, what's she going to tell you? Although it turns out she knows exactly why he's there, but like, why don't you just fucking ask her? Like, I found him really aggravating in this. I find him really aggravating this whole episode, actually.
Yeah, well, this is one of my things with Batman Beyond. I've never been a huge Batman Beyond guy, and part of it is I don't like Terry McGinnis because so much of Batman Beyond is him being like, "This is what's happening. I don't like it." And then Batman and Bruce Wayne being like, okay, but what are you going to do? He's like, I guess I'll go be Batman Beyond. And like, it's like, he's just kind of an annoying character to me. I've never gotten into him. I like the concept. I don't like the character. And yeah.
So it turns out that he's here because, when Bruce needed to clone new organs, everybody got tested, to see who was compatible. And turns out Terry was perfectly compatible. And when he tested his DNA, he found out that they don't make it clear yet, but it sounds like at first that he finds out that he's Bruce's clone, but he's not quite. He's just Bruce's genetic son is what he discovers. And so the thing is that there are some black and white sequences that the Wikipedia for this episode tells me are imagination scenes. And I thought they were flashbacks. So I honestly
believe they were flashbacks as well.
Yeah. So I can't, in my head, I mean, I guess it makes sense because like one of these flashbacks, he breaks up with his girlfriend and then he calls her at the end of the episode and says, hey, we still on for Friday? Which is a weird thing to say. If you just broke up with her.
Especially when you call her at 3 a.m. She should
for no good reason. No, yeah. I'm done with you. Yeah, exactly. What are you fucking doing? So we see him go to the Batcave in this, I guess it's him imagining, which also is actually like a really irritating story structure here, that in the middle of this stuff with Amanda Waller, he's just like having flights of fancy. Like, okay.
He's just, yeah.
He goes into the Batcave.
Doing like some Dobie Gillis bullshit.
And, they have a fight with old man Bruce, and he's really mad that he did not know that Warren McGinnis was not his dad. And in this fight, Bruce is like having trouble opening up his pills, and he's having like an attack of some kind. And then he drops the pills, and Terry's like, fuck you, and walks out. And Bruce manages to get the pills in his mouth. But like, I guess that actually makes more sense as an imagined scene because Terry is straight up leaving Bruce Wayne to potentially die here.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess that makes more sense as an imagination.
I mean, maybe if they had done like a little doodle kind of thing to help us know, or like, there's nothing in the episode to tell you like, hey, these black and white scenes are just things he's imagining, not things that happened.
And I think the problem with that is that because there's a 15-year time gap. So like, we're not sure if this is just filling in stuff that happened or what. Like, there's no way to really know.
Yeah. And also black and white usually suggests the past.
Yeah, I mean, they also do it like super fucking widescreen, like crazy widescreen. So maybe the premise here is that this is the movie in his mind. But like, it was not clear to me that that's what the deal was. And then he also has a imagination of him breaking up with his girlfriend. They're on a bridge, and she knows he's Batman, and he's like, all the bad guys want to kill you, and this is being Batman's a curse. And then we have a scene of the new Justice League. Were they ever in Batman Beyond?
Yes.
And they're fighting some bad guys. I'm going to tell you something very embarrassing. I could not tell sometimes who were the bad guys and who were the good guys. I just honestly had no clue. Like this person's hitting this person. I'm like, well, I think that might be Hawkman, but I'm not really sure.
I mean, it shouldn't be that hard for you to figure out. There's a Green Lantern, a Hawkman, and an Aqua Woman. Those are probably the good guys, right? I mean,
I think that because it's black and white, they were less. I mean, I'm
also for people that watch all these shows. These, like I said, these characters have shown up in Batman Beyond a lot.
But so, I mean, they're gonna have a MODOK in the next scene, so I'm not ruling anything out here.
True.
Like so. I'm not ruling anything out, but that was me being confused. And he shows up and he tells them he's quitting. The thing is that none of this shit feels really well motivated.
Yeah.
Whether it be a memory or an imagination. I guess if it's an imagination, it's more well motivated because he's just being a baby. But like him leaving the Justice League, like
he's just in the shower creating the arguments in his head for the day.
Yeah. I mean, that might be the deal. Like he's like saying like to Green Lantern, "This is why I must quit." Like I do that all the time, and I always catch myself, and I'm like, "You fool! What are you doing? What are you doing?" So he's like, Bruce manipulated me. He didn't tell me who he was, and all this shit. And Minderwall's like, you know what? Actually, that's not true. Let me tell you the story about Bruce Wayne and Batman from when he was much younger. And we go back in time, and we have the Royal Flush Gang, one of whom is a MODOK. Yep. That had to be on purpose. There's no way that you make that guy without knowing that you're making a MODOK.
Yeah.
And in fact, like the one with the hair was like Medusa, and then the really troubling thing is that the guy who is like the samurai, he's like not Asian.
No, he's
or is he Asian? Is he a black guy? Right? That's maybe that's problematic. I don't know. So it turns out that the Royal Flush Gang is fighting the Justice League, and they're in the middle of like this Alice in Wonderland world. They kind of don't explain that to us for a minute. You're kind of like being like, huh, what's going on here? Which I think is also part of like kind of what was irritating you in this episode, because like if Amanda Waller's telling the story, the first thing she says is, Ace was turning Midtown Gotham into Alice in Wonderland. That's where you begin the story. And that's a reveal in this story. And it turns out that they are there guarding Ace. Who is she been in the show before?
I
mean, I know there's been an Ace. If they've, because even Mandelwall's like, this was the second Royal Flush Gang, maybe the third. Who knows?
There's a big Royal Flush Gang storyline in Batman Beyond, and I'm pretty sure there was one in the first Justice League series, but it might have been in later Batman. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure she'd shown up previously. So.
She definitely was. I'm now looking at her Wikipedia page, and she definitely was, in fact, in previous cartoons. So they beat the Royal Flush Gang, and then Amanda Waller shows up, and she's like, "Hey, so here's the deal. Ace is doing this with her. She used to create illusions, but now she's grown into creating like actual altering reality. And we analyzed her, and we know she's going to get an aneurysm. And then when she dies, and then Hawk Girl's like, cool. I mean, like, that's solid. And Amanda Waller's like, no, actually, the deal is that when she has the aneurysm and dies, she's gonna have a big psychic backlash, and it's gonna fucking kill everybody from Miles. And so we have to take care of her. Cadmus has this device to kill her, and it's Hawk Girl's like, I'll do it. I'll fucking kill her. And Batman's no.
That very much fits Hawkgirl's.
Oh yeah. That's a Thanagarian stuff. Batman's like, no, I'm the only one here she knows. She'll actually let me get close to her. So he goes and walks into the enchanted forest that she's built, which opens up for him. And then it closes behind him, and the characters try to get in. And two of these characters can fly, but Hawkgirl's climbing up the side of it. I don't understand what's happening here. Like there's Red Tornado and Hawkgirl. They can both fly over the top.
I mean, Stargirl can fly as well. But
Stargirl can fly too, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like, maybe she'll then try to fly and the whole thing grows a mile up. Like, that's fine. Like, but like, it was very funny to watch Hawkgirl trying to climb up the side of it. I was like, this is odd. So Batman goes in to this castle, and this is, by the way, is my favorite part of this episode. I think if this whole episode had been this, I would have loved it.
Oh no, this is a fantastic sequence. Yeah.
So it's like a really great bit. And so she finds her sitting on a swing, and she's like, "Hey, good to see you, Batman." And she's like, basically, she's like, "I never had a childhood. I was always, it was all robbed from me." And Batman's like, "Yeah, tell me about it." And she's like, "Well, that's why I like you. I know that you had the same experience. And I know because I'm reading your mind right now, which is also why I know you're not going to use that weapon to kill me." And Batman's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're totally right." And she says, "I'm going to die, aren't I?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're going to die sooner rather than later." And she says, "Will you stay with me?" And he does. He sits in the other swing and he holds her hand and he sits with her. And then sometime later, he comes out holding her dead body. And they're like, "Oh, wow, you waited with her," which was very sweet. Nobody says, "Hey, Amanda Waller," nobody else died. Terry McGinnis kind of like brushes that off later.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Bruce knew that nothing was going to happen. And it's like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, they really set it up and they made a big point of it, and it just doesn't really happen. So that's sort of the story that she's telling him. That about like how Batman is not just this mission-driven guy. It's a really good sequence. I don't know that it's the correct story to tell him in response to his concerns here.
I mean, it's definitely, I feel like if I was Terry McGinnis, I'd be like, all right, so you're telling me that Batman can show empathy for this random criminal, but not for the children he raised?
Well, also the thing is that she's responding to Terry saying, once Bruce gets an idea in his head, he won't let go of it. He'll go all the way. And then she tells this story in which I'm not sure I believe that Bruce was intending to kill her. Ever.
No, he was never. No,
right. So like the story is straight up that he had an idea in his head and he was going to go with it all the way. Like this is actually confirming what Terry was just saying. I was like, why is this the story? Again, it's a really good bit. I really liked it. And I really liked him sitting next to her and like holding her hand. I thought that was like really touching and really great. And like also really brave because I mean, I guess technically he thinks he's going to die. I don't know. He must not though, right? Batman wouldn't just sit there if he thought she was going to die.
No, I took it as Ace. If Ace dies, there is a possibility that the psychic flash or whatever could kill people within a certain amount of miles, right? But what Batman is betting on is that is if she dies angry and alone,
right?
But if she dies with somebody there to be with her to show compassion, then she will just release freely and not fight against what's happening kind of deal,
right?
And that's how I took it.
I mean that actually makes a lot more sense. And then Terry's like, well, whatever. And Amanda Waller's like, Bruce is always ahead of everybody. And she goes, but I have something to tell you now, Terry. And then she does what I'm assuming is an intense retcon, right?
Yes.
I mean, this has to be an intense retcon.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they've claimed like, oh no, this was always our plan. And maybe it was, but I don't remember anything in Batman Beyond really formatting the idea that Terry McGinnis is Bruce Wayne's son. And I hate it. I mean,
it's awful. Like the level of awful here is off the charts because it turns out that vaccines are bad because they got Terry's dad while he was getting a vaccine and they fucking put nano Bruce Wayne DNA into him.
Yeah.
Insane.
That looks like the little ear things from Wrath of Khan. Yeah, and they're just attacking his own DNA. That's
totally nuts. And then Amanda Waller's like, well, we want a new Batman, we got to set him up with the trauma. So she hires the Phantom to go kill Terry's parents, Phantasm, sorry, to go kill Terry's parents, and they come out of this movie. It's like real like Man Wall is like waiting for this coming out of a movie because that's how it happened with Batman. So like when they go to the movies,
exactly the same.
Like, and also make sure that she's wearing pearls. Like if you can like maybe just throw them around her neck or something like that, like that really. We need this. And so the Phantasm, though, can't do it. She just won't kill. And the premise that Amanda Waller says is that if we're trying to honor Batman, we can't do the things that Batman wouldn't do.
Yeah.
I have a couple of big problems here, but I mean, my biggest one is the idea that like the world needs Batman. I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I think Batman's whole deal is that he is on some level disposable. You know what I mean? Like Bruce has thrown his whole life away to do this. And that we even see that in this episode, like where Terry's like, everybody fucking hates you now. And have you ever wondered why? And Bruce's like, no, I know exactly why everybody else hates me. So that's the thing. It's like weird. Like this is a Superman story kind of.
Very much so. It also doesn't help that Amanda Waller is like, we needed, he was getting older and we need to make sure that there's a Batman around. And then her next thing is like, you're a son, but you're kind of an idiot. So it didn't quite work out. Like you're not as smart as he is. And it's like, well, then you're not even getting what you were going for, because really the power of Batman is his mind. Right. That's his greatest strength.
Well, her thing is that you also have his heart. And it turns out that's a point of that Ace story is that his heart is his other greatest strength.
Yes. But like, all the heroes have great heart, right? Like,
that's a pretty standard storytelling.
Yeah. What makes Batman special is his strategic mind and his ability to be a great detective and a great inventor. Once that's gone, you just have a guy who's a really nice guy. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't get over this whole the world needs Batman. Like, I don't think it does. I honestly just don't think it does. I think actually Batman would say that he wants a world that doesn't have Batman anymore. Like he would want
that's his dream. Yeah.
Right. So it's like just a weird bit, and it feels really forced because it's like we're going to end Batman Beyond here, so let's end Bruce Wayne's story here.
But we're ending all of it here. Again, they did not know they were going to have another season of Justice League Unlimited, so they were like, this is the end of the Bruce Timm DC animated universe.
Yeah, but this only feels like it's the end of Batman.
Well, it started with Batman.
I get it.
So this is like down to the final shot in this episode is the first shot from the first episode of Batman the Animated Series. So like, which is why it's such a weird thing. Batman flies by two guys in a flying police car, and they're like, what was that? And that's the opening of the first episode that ever aired.
Okay, so, well, it's funny. I watched that and I was like, why do you end it on this? This is the craziest way to end this. But now I know it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, that's really specific though. That's like
it's extremely specific. And that's what this whole episode is extremely specific of like, we're saying goodbye to all of this stuff. And we kind of say goodbye to Justice League at the end of the last episode, and Superman has a big speech. Enough of that bullshit. Let's focus on Batman. And the focus on Batman is, by the way, Batman's really bad at what he does, and we have to clone him and make another one of him. And not just anyone can be a hero. You need to have the genetics of a hero. And it's like, it's the opposite of the Spider-Verse movies, where it's anyone can be Spider-Man. This is like, no, you need Wayne DNA to be Batman. Yeah. It's like, no, that sucks. Like, part of the fun of Batman Beyond is that Terry McGinnis was this kid who grew up poor with like a divorced parents, and became Batman. Like, he's a totally different thing. That's fun. That's interesting. Once you're like, oh no, he's genetically like created to be Batman.
Yeah,
it takes away everything.
This bit where she's explaining the true origin of Terry has my favorite line of any of these Justice League episodes that we've watched.
That Batman leaves his
DNA all over. And I fucking laughed my head off, and then she goes, not like that. And I was like, my God, bless you people for like knowing that I was going to be fucking laughing my head off at that line.
Yep.
So he like gets left blood and shit around, and like sometimes medics would take care of him and stuff like that. they decided that like they just kind of left it to be because the Phantasm wouldn't kill the parents, and maybe it was maybe wrong to do that. And then, however, Terry's dad was murdered actually,
Yes.
and that did turn him into Batman. So Terry's like, doesn't make a difference who actually was behind this. I'm cursed. Like, he goes, this is my destiny. And she's like, no, I don't think it is. And then I'm like, no, it definitely is. You 100%
made it his
you
destiny.
personally did that. Like, this is like.
And also, not for nothing, it doesn't come up in this episode. He's got a little brother.
Yeah.
Like, his little brother is also, I suppose,
part
the
Bruce Wayne.
son of Bruce Wayne. Like,
yeah, unless those nanites only were there for that one time that his dad nutted and then never again.
I suppose that's possible. They're like a one shot. That's it. You get one shot.
that Eminem song starts playing. This is your moment, your movement. So he's like, no, and she's like, no, this wasn't. And then she says that it was God.
Yes.
Which I thought was a very interesting bit. It's really hollow when she just explained to him that we actually used Batman's DNA to make you Batman.
We genetically altered your father with science, but I think it was God that made it happen. Like, no. It was you and your Cadmus buddies. You just said so.
The argument in these kind of cases for religious people is that God put that into motion.
Yeah, I mean, she says God, he works in mysterious ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a good, like when Christians can kind of vibe with evolution, they know that it doesn't necessarily mean that God didn't do it. It's just like, this is how God worked.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be miracles. It can be like, just like long things. And that's part of her deal here. She has a good bit though. Also, she's like, I know I'm going to hell. So I thought it was pretty good. And she says, as he's like ready to leave, she's like, you want to have a better life than Bruce? So take care of people who love you, or don't. It's your choice. And he goes home to Wayne Manor and he calls his girlfriend at 3:00 in the morning. And we see that he has an engagement ring that he's going to propose to her. And then Bruce comes in and is like, where the fuck were you all night? And Terry's like, sorry, I have stuff to do. And Bruce had made him soup and it's cold. I thought that was very sweet. I thought that very much. And then Bruce is like, oh, so Kent called. It's not an apocalypse, but he needs your input on a case. And so Terry suits up. Bruce is like, you should eat something before you go. And Terry's like, no, I'll do it when I get back. And Bruce says, you're stubborn. And Terry goes, just like my dad. And then they take off, and we have that. He takes off, and then we have that repeat of the first scene of the first episode of Batman the Animated Series. Which Kent is this? Is this Clark Kent?
I don't know if this is Clark Kent or if this is Dr. Fate Kent, which is, I forgot his first name, but his last name, or no, Kent Nelson.
Oh, yeah, but it's got to be. It feels like it's got to be Superman, right?
I remember Superman. It's been a long time since I watched Batman Beyond, like since they were airing, and I remember Superman showing up in that and turning evil, and I feel like they had to kill him.
Huh.
But I don't remember. I know he turned evil. I know there was a whole thing of like, oh, he's not the nice guy. Like, that's how these other Justice League members are introduced. Is Superman's running a Justice League,
right?
And he's it turns out he's doing not so good stuff,
right?
But I can't remember if they had to kill him or if they somehow he ends up that he was under brain control or something. I can't remember. But like, he's not a great guy. From what we saw in that, as far as I know. So I don't know which one they're talking about. I feel like he would have said Clark if he was talking about Superman. Because that's what he calls Superman. He calls him Clark.
I know, but Kent is such a weird of his Dr. Fate. That's like so weird. Was Dr. Fate a big deal in Batman Beyond? Like, is that he a big character?
I remember. No.
Yeah, I mean, anybody watching this is going to assume he means Clark Kent. They're going to assume that. There's no way you don't. Like,
yeah.
And then that's the end of it. That's the end of the Bruce Timm verse until next season of Justice League Unlimited. What'd you think of this one?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I like the bit with Ace. I enjoy that. I think that's a really good story. It's a really good different look at Batman than we normally see, and I appreciate that. I really just despise, oh, by the way, you're a genetic recreation of Bruce Wayne you were, that's why you're Batman. And it's like, no, that ruins a character I already did not like that much to begin
Right.
with. Outside of his design, the Batman Beyond design is awesome, but like, it takes away what makes Terry an interesting character. I think that he was just this kid.
What's crazy is that like the story idea that Cadmus wants to clone Batman or create a new Batman isn't the worst. I mean, I don't buy the motivation, but it isn't the worst one. But I think
Yeah.
a more interesting version is that this Batman is evil. That one of the premises is that like it is the specificity of Bruce's life that brought him here. And you can't recreate that. And so like then like that would be kind of interesting, like I have like a big villain who is basically a clone of Bruce Wayne. Who has all of his strengths and all of his abilities and as smart as he is, but is just a son of a bitch. And the idea that like how you're raised feels like a really interesting thing to examine in that. Because like here that like Amanda Waller makes like a little bit of a pass at it. She's like, well, we need you to kill your parents, like Bruce's parents died, but then he's raised a different way, and then he ends up becoming Batman anyway. So like, it doesn't read philosophically to me that well.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't even really watch Batman Beyond, but this retcon sucks. It just so clearly sucks.
No, it's a very bad idea. It's very
and
bad.
Like it's especially if it's the last thing you're doing. Like, why is this the last thing you're doing? Like, you're gonna like recontextualize everything with this? Why not?
I feel like I agree, and I feel like the way like this feels like something where they came up with the bit with Ace, right? And they were like, well, that's not a whole episode. What are we gonna do? And they were like, well, let's close out Batman Beyond, right? Because we didn't get a chance to. That got canceled before we finished our storyline for that. Let's finish that up. I feel like what this should have been, if you're looking at this as this is the end of the Bruce Timm DC animated universe, this is Bruce Wayne's funeral. And you don't have it be like Terry's there, a bunch of the other characters show up. You can have Diana, Clark, Wally, Green Arrow, like all these different characters show up, Martian Manhunter, and they tell different stories about Bruce.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
And there's a great Batman the Animated Series episode called Almost Got Him, where it's each of his villains or a bunch of his villains sitting around telling different stories about the times they almost got Batman.
Right.
Do this a different version of like, this is the Bruce I'll remember. This is the Bruce I'll remember. And then end it that way. I think that'd be very nice. Instead of like, by the way, you're a genetic clone of Batman.
It really does feel like also tacked on. Like, I think if you were just watching JLU and then you came to this, you're like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, what? Yes. Hold on, wait a second. Yes. I just did not like it. I did not like it at all. Which is a bummer because I liked the rest of the episodes that we watched. I really enjoyed watching these. Yeah. And to end on this note is like very, very sad for me.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Well, maybe one day we'll do the final story of season 3. That is also like 6 episodes long.
Maybe. I mean, I'm open for it. I was kind of like skeptical about this stuff when you wanted to do it. I was kind of skeptical that I was like, this era, I don't really love that era like of animation and stuff like that. But it turns out it's great. So maybe we're not going to do it next week though, because next week we have Ironheart. We're going to be here talking about the first 3 episodes of Ironheart. And I'm kind of really excited to watch it. I'm very psyched for this, and I hope it's great. I'm going to probably watch Wakanda Forever tonight.
Oh, yeah?
To prepare. I don't usually prepare, but I've only seen Wakanda Forever the one time, and I think I want to give it another shot. So I think that's what's going to happen for me tonight. So I have a little bit of freshness coming to the Riri of it all.
There you go.
Anyway, we will see you guys again next week. Until then, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, may you be well, but most of all, may you remain a true believer.